afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome to Loyola Academy's 107th Commencement Ceremony. Thank you for joining us on this milestone day that celebrates the past, present, and future of these incredible young men and women. Before we begin our ceremony, I ask that all guests take their seats and remain seated during the procession of Loyola Academy graduates, faculty, and administration. As a courtesy to our graduates, and out of respect for the significance of this occasion, we request that all cell phones be turned off. Most importantly, we request that your conduct throughout this ceremony reflects the honor that is being bestowed upon these ramblers. And so, without further ado, I proudly present the Loyola Academy class of 2017.
of the Society of Jesus.
Let us pray. Good and loving God, we ask for your almighty hand to be upon our graduates as they and their families celebrate this grand milestone. May they find comfort from our community's continued embrace and support as they journey through life. May they find strength in the excellence of their academic preparation and the long line of the Jesuit educational tradition. Bless their lives from this day on with goodness and success. Enable them to stay true to their dreams for your greater glory, to discern what is right, good, and just, and to use their gifts wisely in the service of others. Empower them to walk into the future with faith, hope, and great love, guided by your light, so that they may use their talents to go forth and set the world on fire. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Please be seated. On behalf of the trustees, the faculty, staff, and administration of Loyola Academy, and the members of the class of 2017, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our commencement of the 107th graduating class of Loyola Academy. We extend our sincere appreciation to all members of the Board of Trustees who are joining us today and to all of you in attendance. A special thanks to the Mothers Club for their assistance in their preparation, and a huge thank you to Mrs. Julie Meyer and Mrs. Rose Scher, who both have worked tirelessly for many months to make this day possible. Thank you. This afternoon, we commemorate the close of a very formative chapter in the lives of these young women and men, and mark with great anticipation the beginning of a new one. This is the time to celebrate the accomplishments of this class and a time to begin working toward the next dream. In preparation for today's remarks, I decided to look online at a few recent commencement addresses. One that caught my attention was delivered by TV producer Chandra Rhimes at her alma mater, Dartmouth. And she talked about dreams. She said, dreams do not come true just because we dream them. It's hard work that makes things happen. It's hard work that creates change. Her advice was very simple: be a doer, not a dreamer. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, but it is those with a work ethic and self-discipline who turn their dreams into a reality. They are doers, and I would say the class of 2017 is full of doers. With that in mind, I'd like to highlight a few. The class of 2017 has worked extremely hard to reach this moment, and all of you have achieved accomplishments in various forms. And while we will highlight a few here today, we felt this year we would go one step further, because there are 11 students who truly have gone above and beyond academically, and statistically, they are extremely close. So for the first time ever, we would like to honor and acknowledge the top 2% in our graduating class. I will read the 11 names of the Loyola Academy students among a graduating class of 510 Ramblers who comprise the top 2% of this year's class. This is a remarkable level of academic achievement that deserves recognition. So graduates, when I say your name, please stand and stay standing. And I will ask the audience to hold their applause until I have finished reading the names. Rebecca Amesbury, Christian Carini, Catherine Enrietto, Meredith Hardwick, Zachary Holisek, Kelly McCabe, Elizabeth Nichols, Elizabeth Peterson, Charles Power, Graham Repp, and Roberto Roches. Congratulations. Students, you may be seated. And now on to our 2017 Loyola Academy Valedictorian. At Loyola Academy, we are dedicated to the education of women and men for others who are open to growth, religious, loving, committed to doing justice, physically fit, and intellectually competent. Our 2017 valedictorian, Roberto Roches, is all of this and much more. Roberto, will you please join us on stage? Let's begin with some stats. Of the 510 members of the class of 2017, Roberto's cumulative weighted GPA after 8 semesters was well above 100%. Roberto earned a near perfect score on his ACT. He is a Clavius Scholar, a member of the National Honor Society, and a top contributor to the worldwide Youth in Science and Engineering team, where he and his teammates are formidable competitors on the topics of math, chemistry, English, engineering, physics, biology, and computer science. Roberto served as one of the many student trainers for the football team this past fall, assisting the team doctor and athletic trainer. He was asked to continue his role this summer by Coach Holisek. And despite a spinal injury at the age of 14, Roberto enjoys being part of our track team. But according to AP biology teacher Ms. Marissa Cervantes, Roberto's impressive academic and extracurricular achievements are just part of the story. She says, on a personal level, Roberto is well-disciplined, creative, and industrious. He is fun-loving, dedicated, and trustworthy. Roberto demonstrates loyalty and compassion, and his fellow peers often look to him for academic and personal help. He is mature and caring, non-judgmental and respectful. He establishes meaningful relationships with both his teachers and classmates alike. He intuitively demonstrates leadership and carries a gentle, nurturing demeanor that makes him very approachable. Beyond his gifts in science, Roberto is also a talented writer. Roberto's Common Application essay was one of the most dynamic and creative pieces his college counselor had read. He described the process of learning through the lens of actual biological inner workings of the human brain to express his genuine intellectual curiosity. It is not fun for him to succeed alone. He truly enjoys working with others and helping others. His counselor says, Roberto consistently pushes himself to go above and beyond. He's never one to complain. He knows what needs to be done to achieve excellence. And he has indeed achieved excellence. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Loyola Academy's 2017 Valedictorian, who is headed to Northwestern University in the fall, Mr. Roberto Roches. Got it?
Thank you, Dr. Ball. Thank you, Father McGrath, Mr. Hickey, and members of the Board of Trustees. Faculty, staff, family, friends, and guests, on behalf of the Loyola Academy class of 2017, I welcome you to this celebration. Wow. It is truly the coolest feeling to finally be able to see everyone in the room. I mean, if you didn't notice, on my best day, I'm 5'6", and I can tell you everything about the back of Jake Marwiti's head instead of the person speaking at the assembly. Thank you, Jake, for being so tall. Congratulations. We made it. By the end of today, you don't ever have to wear that boring Loyola polo or those unflattering khakis ever again. But more importantly, there is something different for you on the horizon. Change. Change. Think about that time that you've heard that word and the emotions it conjured up. Miss Thielander just changed the seating chart again. Audible groans. Hey, did you hear? Coach just changed the lineup again. Fear. I need you to change this entire paragraph. I just don't really like it. Dread. Hey, did you hear we're changing to a block schedule next year? Well, no, we lucked out on that one. We're going away. While routine implies comfort, well, change evokes, it's just uncomfortable. I, however, have spent my entire life experiencing change in one form or another. It starts with my birth. I'm not even from here. When I say here, I mean the North Shore. And when I say not from here, I mean I'm not even from this country. I was born in Mexico City, that's in Mexico, on the 4th of July, which I find ironic. When I was 2, I moved to Coral Springs, Florida. And at the age of 5, I moved across the state to Tampa. I never completely started or finished at one school. I started kindergarten in Coral Springs, and I finished 5th grade in Tampa. After 6th grade, I transferred to a charter school and started high school at Jesuit, Tampa. Coming from 8 years of public school, unlike most of you here, I was terrified of Catholic school, especially an all-boys one. Safe to say, I quickly found a group of friends, I found a sport I liked, and I found a solid academic rhythm. Everything about Jesuit Tampa was awesome, maybe except the lack of girls. I thought I had found the perfect place for the next 4 years of my life. So you can only imagine the disappointment when I found out that I was moving to Chicago. Another change. At the time, I couldn't imagine a worse place for me than Chicago. First, I despised the cold. Second, I like to wear shorts year-round. And third, a city with a 108-year World Series drought? Really? What's even worse, I found out that I wasn't moving to Chicago, but instead to the northern suburbs. I mean, I wasn't expecting to move to the Sears Tower, as it's now called the Willis Tower, but I was expecting something like the Chicago I saw on TV. But my mom and dad, they were committed to a Jesuit education, and so they made the decision to send me to Loyola Academy. My parents knew what was best. They always do. Gracias, ma. Gracias, pa. I can honestly say that what I have found at Loyola Academy is unlike anything I have ever encountered at another school. Trust me, I have experience, 8 schools and counting. I have met athletes before. I have met geniuses before. I have met truly kind-hearted people before, but never before had I met them in one place or in such abundance as I did when I wandered into the halls of the academy. Think about this. My history table last year consisted of a state champion lineman, a national merit scholar, a valedictorian, a thespian who also runs track and cross country, 3 of my best friends in the entire school, and 4 of the most altruistic people that I have ever met. There were only 5 people at that table. Do the math. But Loyola is about so much more than academics. Earlier this year, I found myself getting up early on a Saturday morning to drive to school. The Loyola ping pong team has won state 2 years in a row. Yes, I said ping pong, not football. This fine Saturday morning, they were defending their title against their rival, the dreaded Naperville North. Having a couple of friends on the team, I showed up to cheer them on and to witness, well, what promised to be a most interesting sporting event. I arrived in time to see the decisive final singles match between 2 of the best players in the state, Loyola's own Alan Orocho and Naperville's Sarah Butterfly Feet Joe. Now, if you look online, there's a video of the entire match, and if you watch it, here's what you will see. Front and center will be Alan and Sarah, locked in a duel to the death for the state title. Now, if you look closely in the background, you will catch a glimpse of me going utterly insane after every point that Alan scores. You will catch a glimpse of QB1 in the corner, dropping in to cheer after a lift. You will see 2 math team members walking in late, bearing a box of donuts for the starving spectators. You will see a bleacher full of students who came despite their extensive extracurriculars, all of them present to support the Loyola ping pong team. Now here's what I saw. I saw the epitome of an Ignatian education. You may think that a ping pong event is a rather odd place to find such a thing, and yes, you would be right, but that is also Loyola Academy. Where else would you find the drum major playing tug of war alongside the lead in the spring musical, or the 3rd best 800 runner in the state, at the Senior Olympics? Scholars, artists, writers, athletes, thespians, so many diverse individuals, so many integral parts, about 510 of us to be exact. And we make up this whole, our class of 2017. On the last day of English, Mr. Seberg read us the following quote by Tennyson: "I am a part of all that I have met. I am a part of all that I have met. I am a part of all my schools, all my teachers, all my friends, and so are you. Look at the people around you, your parents, your family, your friends, your teachers. They are part of who you are, and they always will be. Remember them with what lies ahead: change." Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2017.
Thank you, Roberto. Next, our honor for the graduate at graduation. The profile of the graduate at graduation is an integral part of Loyola Academy's mission. It has its roots in the very first Jesuit high school, which was founded in Messina, Italy in 1548. The graduate at graduation profile connects the work of all Jesuit college preparatory schools worldwide. Several years ago, the Jesuit Schools Network instituted the Graduate at Graduation Award, asking more than the 50-plus high schools in the United States to honor a young man and or woman with this award. The award reads as follows: the development of each student's God-given talents to full measures is a prominent goal of Jesuit education. Its aim, however, has never been simply the attainment of a store of information and skills or preparation for a career, though these are important in and of themselves and useful to emerging Christian leaders. The ultimate aim of a Jesuit secondary education is, rather, full growth of the person, which leads to action. Action that is saturated with the spirit and presence of Jesus Christ, the woman and man for others. The award is presented to seniors who best resemble the following ideal: a well-rounded person who is intellectually competent, open to growth, religious, loving, physically fit, and committed to doing justice in the generous service to the people of God. This afternoon, we'd like to acknowledge one young woman and one young man from the class of 2017, each who have truly exemplified these characteristics. The 2017 female recipient of this award is described by her counselor as a tensely motivated young woman whose passion for learning is unmatched. She is a scholar who has pushed herself consistently during her 4 years at Loyola Academy, and even this year, when she might have chosen to take her foot off the gas just a bit, she took an ambitious senior schedule that included 3 AP courses. She is an athlete who will fulfill her lifelong dream of being a Division I collegiate athlete next year. And she is a woman with a huge heart for others, always willing to lend a hand or an ear to friends and reach out to her peers who are struggling in math and science to tutor them. But it is openness to growth that is perhaps her most distinguishing characteristic. Our winner's counselor says her drive for success stems from a deep love of learning, reading, and exploring the world, noting she is a rare student whose strengths lie in math and science, but who has chosen to go down the path of humanities. The student says bravely in her autobiography, "I do not want to remain in my comfort zone." And we cannot wait to see where this fearless view of this world will take her. Please join Father McGrath and me in congratulating our 2017 female graduate at graduation recipient, headed next year with a lacrosse stick in her hand to the University of Notre Dame, Mrs. Catherine Katie Henrietto. She's on crutches. Like Katie, the male recipient of this year's Graduate at Graduation Award reflects a unique and inspiring mix of strengths. Academically, athletically, and through a deep commitment to serving others, this award winner shines. He is, by all accounts, a real rambler. It's hard to adequately describe how fantastic this young man is as a student and as a young adult, says his science teacher. In terms of academics, he is one of the most hardworking students I have encountered in my teaching career. He sets goals for himself and works tirelessly to achieve them. At the beginning of the school year, I discussed with the students their goals for the upcoming year. While most of his classmates stated getting an A was their most important goal, this young man wanted to learn science and become a better scientist. Latin and Greek instructor Mrs. Rebecca Wick says that this grad is nothing but, if not, resilient. She recalls in October of 2015, he received a mild concussion and had to take some time off from sports and ease back into academics. He did not miss a beat in his classes, and he got back on track very quickly. Upon returning to play, he was injured again and left the sport to recover fully. His academics did not suffer, but in fact, they flourished. Mrs. Wick adds, in my 18 years of teaching ancient Greek to high school students, I've not seen the natural ability for Greek, passion for classics, and university-level work that I have seen in this young man. An athlete for all seasons, this award winner has competed on the LA football team, cross-country team, basketball team, and track teams. His coaches describe him as a caring, good-humored, disciplined, and intensely competitive, yet always mindful that he's only playing a game and that something larger and more meaningful is alive in the moment, the chance to test his limit. His counselor, Ms. Jennifer Newberry, says that during his senior showcase, the young man talked about stepping outside his comfort zone. But what's even more striking was that several of his classmates referenced him in their own showcase. Not as a superstar of the story, but as an important part of the team, community, and friends. He seems to bring a presence with him wherever he goes. Let's welcome this presence to the stage. Please join Father McGrath and me in congratulating the male recipient of the 2017 Graduate at Graduation Award, headed next fall to the University of Chicago, where he will study and run on the track team, Theodore Ted Falkenhayn. Religious, intellectually competent, physically fit, loving, open to growth, and committed to doing justice. These are indeed the qualities of the Jesuit graduates at graduation, and we have honored two very deserving individuals. But I can tell you, after 6 years now as principal of Loyola Academy, that award could have gone to so many of you. I've witnessed these 6 characteristics in action through your service, your commitment to academics, to the arts, to athletics, and to each other and the world around you. In time, you have become real ramblers. Of course, we did not all do it single-handedly. Your values were planted in you from the start by your parents and cultivated carefully and lovingly over the years. And while your parents have been continuously and constantly cultivating the soil, your teachers and coaches have been the nutrients allowing you to grow further toward your full potential. Take, for example, our 2017 Educator of the Year. Each year, Loyola recognizes a teacher for his or her outstanding contributions to the formation of our students. This year, the senior class again voted to determine who would be honored as the Educator of the Year. And as we all know, teenagers are generally no pushovers, so there is a very high threshold for this honor. We asked our seniors as they considered the nominations to reflect upon the teacher who not only administered their classes in an outstanding fashion, but the ones whose teachings would stay with them long after they leave Loyola. The teachers who've made a lasting difference in their lives. There were several strong and compelling nominations again this year, but one that truly stands out. When we asked the Educator of the Year's department chair why she thought why the Ramblers loved this teacher so much, she responded, "How could they not?" This instructor comes across as a retired Marine who has a loving heart of a granddad. He looks and sounds tough, but he really, really cares about all of his students. He knows their interests, their passion, and their heartbreaks. He sees them at events And if he cannot go, he always remembers to ask, "How did you do?" or "How did it go?" He has a wild and crazy sense of humor that adds sparkle and keeps the everyday stuff of school from becoming humdrum. He is a man of faith who walks the talk. He partners side by side with students and teachers, whether it's in the classroom, working with the homeless, or on a service trip. He means what he says, and he says what he means. In a world full of double talk and phoniness, he is the real deal. He knows his faith, his students, his discipline, and himself. He brings all of that, plus a big heart of his, into every classroom, every single day. Of course, his students love him. The instructor personifies what it means to be open to growth. Over the course of more than 3 decades, he has accepted positions as a theology teacher, community service director, retreat director, coach, leader, and service learning teacher. In a role, his standards have been high, as he has encouraged students to learn, to improve, and to grow. I should add that this particular instructor has been at Loyola Academy for the past 4 years, and he spent the almost 30 years prior as an educator at St. Ignatius College Prep in Chicago, which is my alma mater, where he received the Educator of the Year when I graduated in 1990. So please join me as we congratulate our 2017 Educator of the Year, Loyola Academy theology teacher, Mr. Timothy Mitchell. It is now my pleasure to introduce the president of Loyola Academy, the Reverend Patrick E. McGrath from the Society of Jesus, who will give the commencement address.
Thank you, Katie. Board of Trustees, parents, alumni, friends, and most importantly, Ramblers of the class of 2017, greetings. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. The words belong to the great American poet Mary Oliver. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. The poet's insight into the path for a meaningful life capture so much of the wisdom of St. Ignatius of Loyola and our Jesuit tradition. Ramblers, in your 4 years with us, you have been grafted onto that tradition. The nearly 500-year-old Jesuit tradition is yours now, and it is to be shared in service and love with a world so desperately in need of it. You are sent with a toolkit and a worldview born of the incredibly positive, creative, and engaging mission of St. Ignatius Loyola and the Society of Jesus. Pay attention. We, us, all of us in this Jesuit tradition, we are convinced that there is actually something worth paying attention to in our daily lives. Pay attention to God. With Ignatius, you and I have become convinced that our God is to be experienced in all things, not solely in the rarefied spaces of liturgy and churches, but in every moment of our day and in the crossroads of commerce, learning, the arts, conversation, community, and love. Pay attention to the deepest desires of your hearts, not the superficial cravings of the day, but the deepest longings that you have for meaning, purpose and connection. You have been built for community, for relationship, and for friendship with God. Pay attention to each other. In your days at Loyola, you have been surrounded by ramblers from all over metropolitan Chicago and from a glorious variety of backgrounds. Different socioeconomic backgrounds, races, ethnicities, sexual orientation, cultures. It's our hope that friendships have blossomed for you with fellow students who aren't exactly like you are. In paying attention to each other, in discovering the grace and wonder of those around you, you have come to find God, the source of everything that is good. Pay attention to the poor and the people at the periphery. Jesus spent his days expanding the circle of humanity. He moved to the edges of his culture to those who had been pushed aside. In response to his invitation, we seek to connect, to relate to those most in need, not simply because we might bring some relief from the struggles of their lives, but more importantly, that we might recognize ourselves in the faces of the poor and know the transformative grace of our hearts growing in humility and compassion. Pay attention to your day. Together, you and I have tried to insert into everyday forced pauses in our routine. In so many ways, but most persistently in the daily examen, we have stopped to pay attention. We have asked God to show us and open up our memories and imaginations about the day that we might pay better attention to what actually matters in life. Be astonished. The world is charged with the grandeur of God. Earth's crammed with heaven. The poets get it. The poets know the truth that Ignatius harbored in his heart. The world is beautiful, and it's chock full of evidence of God's love for us. And our hearts break, and we are moved to action whenever we see that truth ignored or trampled on. Be astonished at the beauty of creation and care for it with love. Be astonished at the boundless capacity for compassion manifested very near us every day and all around the world. Be astonished at what unites us in a shared humanity and a common destiny. Be astonished by the grace of forgiveness and reconciliation. Be astonished by the gift of life, this day, this moment, this life. Be astonished by the resiliency of human hearts and minds to continue to strive for peace and justice. Be astonished at the gift of your Jesuit education and the horizon of possibility that opens up today for your future. Tell about it. As graduates of Loyola Academy, you have a mission. You have received the transformative treasure of a Jesuit education, which has equipped you with tools to seek God in all things. Your mission is not a particular college or career. Your Jesuit education is not about your GPA or awards received. Your Jesuit education is a gift and a challenge. Your mission is to be ambassadors of hope, fueled by the experience of God that is all around you and within you. Hope ought to be a defining characteristic of graduates of this school. You are called to be people who use all your skills and talents to make a sober assessment of the shifting circumstances of our day, while always knowing in the sinew of your soul the fundamental truths that never change. People of hope know that the worst thing is never the last thing, and that our purpose and our meaning are discovered to the extent that we share that good news. Tell about it. Ramblers, today we commission you. We send you to be hope for the world. We have trained you well. You are ready. and we send you into a world of noise and division, and we send you as people who know how to dig deeper, reflect well, and to discern what matters most, and ultimately to act with compassion and love. We send you to be hope for the world. God bless you, Ramblers. Godspeed.
Thank you, Father McGrath. Congratulations to all the award and scholarship recipients listed in the program, as well as to those of you who have distinguished yourselves for outstanding leadership in the co-curricular life of our school. You will note that the members of the class of 2017 graduating with academic honors are listed in the graduation program. Congratulations to our salutatorian, our cum laude, our magna cum laude, and our summa cum laude graduates, as well as to our Dumbach and Clavius scholars and state and national scholars. Congratulations. The diplomas will be presented by Father McGrath and by Mr. Roger Hickey, the chairman of our Board of Trustees. Sons and daughters of Loyola Academy and Marillac alumni and those of trustees, faculty, and staff will receive their diploma from their parents and in some cases their grandparents. A photographer is on hand today to capture the presentation of each diploma, and proofs will be sent to your homes. A video of the graduation will also be available. We all feel joy as we celebrate a significant achievement and milestone in the lives of these young women and men. However, we need to recognize the importance of the conferral of the diplomas with behavior that respects the serious nature of these academic rights. To that end, I ask that you please refrain from applause and any other conduct that might detract from the full and dignified recognition of a single graduate. After the last diploma is conferred, we will together recognize the accomplishments of the entire class with a hearty round of applause. Mr. Charlie Hines, Assistant Principal for Student Service, and Mr. Tim Kane of our English Department will read the names of our graduates. And now, Father McGrath and Mr. Hickey, on behalf of the faculty and staff of Loyola Academy, it is my distinct pleasure to present to you the class of 2017 candidates for a Loyola Academy diploma. They have successfully completed the requirements for the courses of study at Loyola Academy and have thereby merited diplomas. Graduates in the first row, please stand.
During today's commencement, please note that due to athletic competitions, extracurricular activities, or unforeseen events, some graduates are absent from today's ceremony. Please be sure to pay close attention so as not to miss your graduate as he or she crosses the stage. Thank you.
Mr. Anthony Enrietto, Loyola Academy class of 1988, will present the diploma to his daughter, Catherine Enrietto.
Claire Affinito.
Daniel Actel.
Anthony Aldura.
Cassandra Ajamun.
Lily Amer.
Mrs. Sandy Alexopoulos of Loyola Academy's cafeteria will present the diploma to her son, Dimitri Alexopoulos.
Jack Badovanak.
Rebecca Amesbury.
Juliana All.
Manasseh Bakri.
Mr. Ronald Banis, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his son, Ronald Banis.
Cassandra All.
Mr. Phil Andrew, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his daughter, Olivia Andrew.
Mr. Terrence Bannon, Loyola Academy class of 1971, will present the diploma to his son, Andrew Bannon.
Brett Barger.
Elizabeth Abby Antwina Saya.
Isabel Arana.
Erin Armstrong.
Yedidiah Bukele.
Prince Benyana.
Mr. Tom Arndt, Loyola Academy class of 1982, and Mr. John Arndt, Loyola Academy class of 1956, will present the diploma to their daughter and granddaughter, Eleanor Arndt.
Andrew Ford Bartholow.
Ryan Lynn Peistrup.
John Blint.
Mr. Michael Malahan, Loyola Academy class of 1982, will present the diploma to his son, Ryan Malahan.
Mr. Edwin Dunn, Loyola Academy class of 1960, will present the diploma to his grandson, Richard Campbell III.
Thomas Moran.
Patrick Carpenter.
Daniel O'Brien.
Charlie Hexamer.
John O'Flaherty.
Ava Ann Arpino.
Mr. Jim Toomey, Loyola Academy class of 1976, will present the diploma to his son, Chris Toomey.
Brendan Blockovich.
Sean Tully.
Bridget Asamoah Bafour.
Brian Vance.
Maxim Bobel.
Quinn Redican Jansen.
Emily Barabbas.
Jonathan Holbach.
Frankie Borges.
Gabriela Arroyo.
Annabelle Frances Barnett.
Gabriel Botang.
Matthew David Braun.
Annabelle Ford Backer.
Case Walker Brennan.
Patrick Boos.
Mr. Paul Biasco, Loyola Academy class of 1979, will present the diploma to his daughter, Claire Elizabeth Biasco.
Carly Barajas.
Callum Breen.
Michael Bradley.
Grace Bolleton.
Miss Cheryl Baskin O'Connell, Marillac class of 1987, will present the diploma to her daughter, Autumn Baskin O'Connell.
Kyle Brown.
John Brecky.
Natasha Borkowski.
Adarina Bethishew.
Matthew Byrne.
Mr. Matthew Brennan, Sr., Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his son, Matthew Brennan.
Crystal D. Boyd.
Catherine Bodkin.
Shane Byrne Slepika.
Ryan Brown.
Gina Brennan.
Claire Elizabeth Bora.
Mr. Christopher Canning, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his son, Christopher Canning, Jr.
John Buffo.
Natalie Bridges.
Maya Christina Bustani.
Mr. Joseph Capitani, Loyola Academy class of 1979, will present the diploma to his son, Joseph Capitani.
Jack Byrne.
Molly Brombach.
Mr. John Breedeman, Loyola Academy class of 1972, will present the diploma to his daughter, Anne Grace Breedeman.
Margaret Brown.
Madeline Brett.
Patrick Carroll.
Mr. Sam Canizero, Loyola Academy class of 1976, will present the diploma to his son, Vito Canizero.
Mr. Terry Burke, Loyola Academy class of 1979, will present the diploma to his daughter, Colleen Burke.
Mr. Andrew Broccolo, Loyola Academy class of 1984, will present the diploma to his daughter, Isabella Broccolo.
Roberto Celio.
Mr. Daniel Carini, Loyola Academy class of 1987, will present the diploma to his son, Christian Carini.
Isabella Buscaglia.
Sophia Brower.
Jimin Chun.
Mr. Scott Carr, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his son, Quinn Carr.
Kaylin Butler.
Dr. James Burden, Loyola Academy class of 1951, and Mr. Mark Burden, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to their daughter and granddaughter, Malia Carol Burden.
Mr. Chris Schmeller, Loyola Academy class of 1986, will present the diploma to his son, Mike Schmeller.
Doyle Carroll.
Valerie Caldwell.
Maura Burton.
Kieran Collins.
Aaron Cheeks.
Paulina Cawley.
Caroline Judith Bush.
Mrs. Julie Conway of Loyola Academy's business office will present the diploma to her son, Brendan Conway.
Joseph Victor Cherian.
Riley Quinn Collins.
Cassidy Caldwell.
Kevin Criollo.
Justin Alec Ciesla.
Erin Claire Connolly.
Kathia Marie Castellanos.
Donovan Nicholas Crow.
Michael Cologne.
Catherine Ann Connolly.
Mr. H. Glenn Clark, Loyola Academy class of 1982, and Mr. William McIntosh, Loyola Academy class of 1957, will present the diploma to their daughter and granddaughter, Grace Clark.
Mr. Joseph Paul Davies, Loyola Academy class of 1977, will present the diploma to his son, Joseph Paul Davies.
Mr. Michael Craddock, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his son, Connor Craddock.
Mr. Joseph Paul Davies, Loyola Academy class of 1977, will present the diploma to his daughter, Jessica Paige Davies.
Karen Concepcion Collins.
Jacob Deanda Covera.
Charles Cronin.
Arden Crawford.
Mr. Michael Connolly, Loyola Academy class of 1984, will present the diploma to his daughter, Kathleen Connolly.
Dylan Demacos.
Joseph Deloya.
Nicolina Demacos.
Kelsey Cook.
Fernando Dosamontes.
Devin DeHewick.
Eleanor Cullen.
Lauren Cox.
John Patrick Dempsey, Jr.
Julian de Guzman.
Grace Cullen.
Bernadita Cruzat.
John Morgan Dwyer.
Mitchell DeLigio.
Mrs. Mary Dillon, former trustee of Loyola Academy, will present the diploma to her daughter, Fiona McHugh Dillon.
Kyle Dumez.
Brendan Egan.
Mr. Hanley Dawson IV, Loyola Academy class of 1986, and Mr. Hanley Dawson III, former chairman of the Loyola Academy Board of Trustees, will present the diploma to their daughter and granddaughter, Emily Dawson.
Anna DeVito.
James Dunbar.
Austin Ang.
Rachel Ann Della Pena.
Mr. Robert Dooley, Loyola Academy class of 1981, and Mrs. Dawn Dooley, former trustee, will present the diploma to their daughter, Mary Dooley.
Hayden Esom.
Ted Falkenhayn.
Kathleen DiSilvestro.
Grayson Duran.
Philip Ellerman.
Michael Fiorante.
Lena Dominella.
Blair Dufour.
Ramar Evans.
Juan Flores.
Margot Dooley.
Sarah Dwyer.
Michael Finnegan.
Rafael Garcia.
Maeve Doyle.
Karina Mahal and Relay.
John Fitzgerald.
Brian Giella.
Mr. John Dwyer, Loyola Academy class of 1967, will present the diploma to his daughter, Mary Brennan Dwyer.
Vivian Fisher.
Mr. David Fox, Loyola Academy class of 1978, will present the diploma to his son, John Fox.
David Gonzalez Velez.
Perry Francesca Elman.
Riley Fitzgerald.
Barrett David Garfield.
Nicholas Goshi.
Maura Rose Fellish.
Mr. Michael Flanagan, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his daughter, Lainey Flanagan.
Andrew Gonzalez.
Patrick Gubbins.
Mary Grace Fitzgerald.
Maeve Felicia Foley.
Matthew Gordon.
Christoph Gutowski.
Jessica Gordon.
Kylie Franzak.
Benjamin Gruber.
Riley Harwood.
Mr. Brian Foley, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his daughter, Claudia Foley.
Elizabeth Germano.
Nathaniel Gunther.
Thomas Henning.
Agnes Folga.
Adom Goitam.
Anthony Gazzardo.
Elise Dahl Grande.
Ariella Antoinette Gaspar.
Sean Hickey.
Mr. Brian Hayes, Loyola Academy class of 1988. Mrs. Kathleen Hayes, Marillac class of 1988. Mr. Dana Hayes, Loyola Academy class of 1958. And Mr. Leo Sheridan, Loyola Academy class of 1953, will present the diploma to their son and grandson, Connor Hayes.
Mr. Robert Grass, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his daughter, Catherine Grass.
Sinead Brita Godley.
Thomas James Hirsch.
Thomas Harrian.
Alexandria Heights.
Harley Goodman.
Meredith Susan Hardwick.
Mr. Roger Hickey, Loyola Academy class of 1979 and chairman of the Loyola Academy Board of Trustees, will present the diploma to his son, Peter McDermott Hickey.
Calvin G. Holliday.
Mr. Roger Hickey, Loyola Academy class of 1979 and chairman of the Loyola Academy Board of Trustees, will present the diploma to his daughter, Margaret Mary Hickey.
Sarah Hollander.
Julian Hillpush.
Trevor Horwitz.
Madeline Guerrero.
Mr. Robert Huffman III, former Loyola Academy trustee, will present the diploma to his daughter, Colleen Huffman.
James Finn Hoban.
Franklin Jacubo.
Natalie Hollissay.
Emma Imburgia.
Zachary Holisek.
William Hartaleza.
Mr. Thomas Hart, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his daughter, Kelly Hart.
Allison Hara.
William Hopper.
Michael Gels.
Zoe Francis Hiddle.
Riley Jasser.
William Joseph Huber.
Mr. Michael Kane, Sr., Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his son, Michael Kane, Jr.
Sarah Jane Iglar.
Brady Jones.
Stephanie Iwanyewu.
Mr. William Kelly, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his son, Robert Kelly.
Daniel Jaros.
Mr. Richard Kane, Loyola Academy class of 1987, will present the diploma to his daughter, Madison Kane.
Brinkley Renee Jarrett.
Mr. Brian Kelly, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his son, Connor Patrick Kelly.
Matthew Luke Cadis.
Julia Marie Kariotis.
Catherine Johnson.
Connor Fitzpatrick Kennedy.
Nicholas Young.
Claire Liliana Karen Kelly.
Gabriela Manzanares Houlet.
Amir Khan.
Christopher Young.
Claire Kingsley.
Sophia Kanalitsis.
Connor Kim.
Brendan Kelly.
Danielle Kishtow.
Karina Kavanaugh.
Kyle Cook.
Mr. Michael Kearns, Loyola Academy class of 1976, will present the diploma to his son, Michael Kearns.
Helen Marie Krisman.
Blair Kennedy.
Mr. Michael Katowski, Loyola Academy class of 1987, and Social Studies faculty member, will present the diploma to his son, Padraig Jude Katowski.
Mr. F. John Cushing III, Loyola Academy class of 1969, will present the diploma to his grandson, Kai Cushing Kaisu.
Alexandra Chikowski.
Lee Kinsler.
Patrick James Kramer.
David Klauke.
Claire Kummerer.
Charlotte Collada.
Mr. Mark Kuchuris, Loyola Academy class of 1986, will present the diploma to his son, Christopher Kuchuris.
Wes Kerner.
Caroline Kwasinski.
Sophia Kursek.
Chris Lampley.
Joseph Kramer.
Mr. Robert Langell, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his daughter, Charlotte Langell.
Amanda Coulis.
Christopher Lecompte.
Christian Kreisa.
Samantha Lazar.
Gloria Kwaki.
Mr. Michael Leiser, Loyola Academy class of 1979, will present the diploma to his son, Matthew Leiser.
Mr. James Lammery, Loyola Academy class of 1977, will present the diploma to his son, Ryan Lammery.
Mr. Gerard Leiter, Loyola Academy class of 1990, will present the diploma to his daughter, Mackenzie Leiter.
Mr. John Kyle Jr., Loyola Academy class of 1982, will present the diploma to his daughter, Emma Kyle.
Emily Liebers.
Mr. John Lucas, Loyola Academy class of 1963, will present the diploma to his grandson, Jack Ledbetter.
Kyle Loderick.
Naomi Longlua.
Mr. Michael Lateau, Loyola Academy class of 1983, and Mr. John Lateau, Loyola Academy class of 1955, will present the diploma to their daughter and granddaughter, Kelly Lateau.
Ryan Lee.
Mr. John Lucas, Loyola Academy class of 1963, will present the diploma to his grandson, Anthony Loverde.
Mr. Timothy Listingi, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his son, Andrew Listingi.
Lydia Lorenzo.
Mr. Matthew Lennon, Loyola Academy class of 1977, will present the diploma to his daughter, Jamie Lennon.
Mr. George Lyman III, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his son, George Lyman IV.
John Lister.
Hannah Lyons.
Sophia Lines.
Joseph Lynch.
Ms. Susan Leffler, Marillac class of 1978, will present the diploma to her son, Kyle Leffler.
Ternita Manda.
Sarah Lopez.
Mr. Casey Magner, Loyola Academy class of 1989, will present the diploma to his son, Patrick Magner.
Jack Ludwig.
Margaret Martin.
Molly Lynch.
Elena Maxouris.
Mr. Patrick Lynch, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his son, Matthew Lynch.
Jacob Marquez.
Jalen Macedo.
Caitlin Lydia McDermott.
Mr. Michael McGregor, Loyola Academy class of 1988, and Mr. Donald McGregor, Loyola Academy class of 1963, will present the diploma to their son and grandson, Michael McGregor.
Jack Martinez.
Margaret Ryan Marinek.
Emma McGowan Henderson.
Emmett Ryan Marinek.
Peter Mathewson.
Lindsay Matusek.
Elizabeth Metzger.
Christopher Mancini.
Mrs. Mary Jo McCabe of Loyola Academy's bookstore and Mr. Peter Gamber, Loyola Academy class of 1953, will present the diploma to their son and grandson, Patrick McCabe.
Mr. Tom McCabe, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his daughter, Kelly McCabe.
Eleanor Molman.
David Martin.
Jack McGuire.
Sarah McGann.
Ann Molman.
Alfred Marweedy.
Mr. Thomas McHugh, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his son, Ryan McHugh.
Isolda McKiernan.
Elena Mowinski.
Mr. Matthew Mayer, Loyola Academy class of 1988, and Mrs. Kelly Burgess Mayer, Marillac class of 1988, will present the diploma to their son, John Mayer.
Mr. William McMenamin, Loyola Academy class of 1977, will present the diploma to his son, John McMenamin.
Marguerite Miller.
Colleen Ann Murtaugh.
Daniel McGowan.
Ryan McTague.
Julianne Montequilla.
Isabella Saldana Natke.
Roger McGuire.
Alum McConan.
Nicole Morales.
Bisarata Gabrielle. Johannes Nagase.
Mikhail McKeever.
Maxwell Menconi.
Mr. Mark Murnane, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his daughter, Kylie Murnane.
Haley Reese Nessie.
Sean McNamara.
Jonathan Mendick.
Mr. Thomas Nash, Loyola Academy class of 1979, will present the diploma to his daughter, Catherine Nash.
Elizabeth Shea Nichols.
Kevin Meehan.
Mr. Robert Michaels, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his son, Luke Michaels.
Bridget Naughton.
Mr. Sean O'Brien, Loyola Academy class of 1982, will present the diploma to his daughter, Kara O'Brien.
Matthew Melson.
Joseph Morehouse.
Claire Nelson.
Maureen Grace O'Connor.
Omar Mendez.
Jack Andrew Moran.
Julia Newmeyer.
Catherine Grace O'Malley.
Daniel Michael.
Matthew Charles Moriarty.
Katia Novi.
Delaney Oliveira.
Nicholas Michelon.
Mrs. Susie Mufluzelis of Loyola Academy's cafeteria will present the diploma to her son, Yanni Mufluzelis.
Mr. Timothy O'Brien, Loyola Academy class of 1984, will present the diploma to his daughter, Abigail O'Brien.
Brian Murphy.
Miss Loretta O'Malley, Marillac class of 1983, will present the diploma to her daughter, Brennan O'Malley.
Julia Parker.
Cole Morgan.
Connor Murphy.
Isabella Olavarria.
Philip Nelson.
James Marisi III.
Anna Marie Perona.
Dr. Arturo Oliveira Jr., Loyola Academy class of 1975, will present the diploma to his daughter, Sophia Oliveira.
John Edward Emmett Nick.
Benjamin Mulcrone.
Nicole Elizabeth Peterson.
Gabriella Perricini.
Christopher Jack Novo.
Ms. Catherine Murphy, Marillac class of 1981, will present the diploma to her son, Thomas Murphy.
Maya Pillai.
Ms. Rowena Parma, Marillac class of 1985, will present the diploma to her daughter, Gabriella Parma.
Salim Noor.
Sergio Navarro.
Mr. Norton O'Mara, Loyola Academy class of 1953, will present the diploma to his granddaughter, Catherine O'Mara.
Mr. Kurt M. Penn, Loyola Academy class of 1957, will present the diploma to his granddaughter, Chloe Penn.
Mr. Kenneth Platts, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his daughter, Olivia Platts.
Mark Nicholson.
Lorcan O'Callahan.
Mr. Stephen Peterson, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his daughter, Catherine Peterson.
Elizabeth Raffle.
Andrew Narowski.
Reese Collins O'Donnell.
Mr. Stephen Peterson, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his daughter, Elizabeth Peterson.
Kelly Kathleen Reichert.
Mrs. Judy Nugent of the Loyola Academy English Department will present the diploma to her son, Ryan Nugent.
Mr. John O'Malley, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his son, John O'Malley.
Mr. Stephen Peterson, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his daughter, Margaret Peterson.
Mr. Timothy Reynolds, Loyola Academy class of 1978, will present the diploma to his daughter, Mary Faith Reynolds.
Mr. Michael James Purcell, Loyola Academy class of 1988, will present the diploma to his daughter, Kaylee Purcell.
Colin Orlowski.
Colin O'Connor.
Cynthia Rodriguez Husband.
Sophia Reynal.
Anthony Ponzi.
Olivia Rempe.
Bridget Ruddy.
Benjamin Odell.
Brendan Posner.
Jane Rissover Plotke.
Maria Ryan.
Mark Petchnick.
Shay Prendergast.
Debbie Romero.
Kylie Sanders.
Mr. John Shornack, Loyola Academy class of 1946, will present the diploma to his grandson, Charles Power.
Parker Ray.
Mr. Christopher Rule, Loyola Academy class of 1987, will present the diploma to his daughter, Olivia Rule.
Mr. George Sargent, Loyola Academy class of 1988, will present the diploma to his daughter, Margot Sargent.
Mr. Christopher Prassis, Loyola Academy class of 1986, and Mr. Jerry Prassis, Loyola Academy class of 1951, will present the diploma to their son and grandson, Connor Prassis.
Connor O'Leary Reardon.
Natalie Ryder.
Sean Scanlon.
Joshua Prieto.
Graham Rep.
Mr. Mark Santa Cruz, Loyola Academy class of 1977, will present the diploma to his daughter, Erin Santa Cruz.
Janelle Savia.
Matthew Reel.
Mrs. Jean Kane Richards, Marillac class of 1983, will present the diploma to her son, Sean Richards.
Emma Sargent.
Gabrielle Sidke.
Mr. Mark Reedy, Loyola Academy class of 1978, will present the diploma to his son, Edward Grace Reedy.
Michael Roca.
Caroline Elizabeth Schmidt.
Dr. John Skowron, Loyola Academy class of 1978, will present the diploma to his daughter, Emma Skowron.
Antonio Reyes.
Roberto Roches.
Dr. Philip Sheridan, Loyola Academy class of 1978, will present the diploma to his daughter, Nancy Sheridan.
Catherine Summers.
Matthew Ritter.
Mr. Joseph Roddy, Loyola Academy class of 1982, will present the diploma to his son, Quinn Roddy.
Greta Skarzinski.
Mr. John Spencer Staley, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his daughter, Sarah Joyce Staley.
Paul Roach.
Anthony Romano.
Giju Song.
Alexis Stensby.
Kyle Rock.
Mr. Michael Rohde, Loyola Academy class of 1976, and Mr. Bruno Rohde, Loyola Academy class of 1952, will present the diploma to their son and grandson, Dominic Rohde.
Mr. William Spallone, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his daughter, Gina Spallone.
Mrs. Bettina Swanson, Marillac class of 1985, will present the diploma to her daughter, Hannah Swanson.
Alejandro Roman.
Matthew Salter.
Mr. Michael Starshek Jr., Loyola Academy class of 1984, will present the diploma to his daughter, Haley Starshek.
Giorgio Sanfratello.
Mr. Michael Starshek Jr., Loyola Academy class of 1984, will present the diploma to his son, Michael Starshek.
Mrs. Sarah Bennett of Loyola Academy's Counseling Department will present the diploma to her daughter, Sophia Torres Kennedy.
Jack Ruth.
Noah Schlossman.
Lillian Szymanski.
Mr. Robert Vaneco, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his daughter, Margaret Vaneco.
Mr. Frank Sandroman, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his son, Brian Sandroman.
Maximilian Schrader.
Teresa Tisdale.
Serena Walker.
Ronald Schiavone.
Jack Walker.
Patricia Mihalina Urbaniak.
Allison West.
Thomas Schmitz.
Matthew Seckman.
Francesca Vena Pedersen.
Sabrina Danielle Taylor.
Joseph Schuler.
Mr. Ronald Shebley, Loyola Academy class of 1976, will present the diploma to his son, Luke Shebley.
Caroline Walker.
Ella Tierney.
Thompson Schweeder.
Keegan Smith.
Eleanor Talaga.
Caroline Witoski.
Mr. Thomas Sexton, Loyola Academy class of 1981, will present the diploma to his son, Thomas Sexton.
Mr. James Sullivan, Loyola Academy class of 1988, will present the diploma to his son, Daniel Sullivan.
Kara Thomas.
Melina Yusuf.
Miss Amy Lutz Shortall, Marillac class of 1988, will present the diploma to her son, William Shortall.
Jan Supek.
Mr. David Wheeler, Loyola Academy class of 1983, will present the diploma to his daughter, Sheridan Wheeler.
Mr. Robert Zahorik, Loyola Academy class of 1980, will present the diploma to his daughter, Samantha Zahorik.
James Stoll.
Paulo Tiongson.
Avery Yalowitz.
Zachary Taylor.
Ian Swenson.
Mr. John Shornack, Loyola Academy class of 1947, will present the diploma to his grandson, Ryan Truman.
Allison Zahn.
Oscar Ventura, Jr.
Joseph Talanges III.
Liam Walsh.
David Terrell.
Kevin White.
Daniel Vargas.
Arthur Young.
Maximilian von Rommel.
Nathan Zacher.
Connor Cummings Walsh.
John Zern.
Brendan Yap.
Mr. William Zigman, Loyola Academy class of 1986, will present the diploma to his son, John Zigmund. Mr. Charles Stevens, Loyola Academy class of 1985, will present the diploma to his daughter, Emma Stevens.
It is my pleasure to present to you the 107th graduating class of Loyola Academy, the class of 2017. 2017, it's yours. A Loyola Academy education, a diploma, membership in the ranks of distinguished Loyola alumni, and a worldwide Jesuit network. Thank you, class of 2017, for the extraordinary leadership you have exhibited and for the true credit you are to our school. But now the real work begins, to humbly carry forth God's will for your life using your gifts, your knowledge, your work ethic, and your heart for service and justice. Our hope is that your time at Loyola has prepared you to meet the challenges you'll face in the years to come, and that these years together as Ramblers have prepared you to go out, find common ground, and to be what God wants you to be, men and women for others. Confident in your beliefs, practiced in your self-discipline, loving in your ways, and ready to make a difference. Doers, just not dreamers, for God's greater glory. Please turn to the inside back cover of the program and join in the singing of the alma mater, led by our seniors in our honors chamber ensemble. Following the alma mater, those on stage will process out, and parents and guests may meet the graduates here in the arena or outside. Thank you for sharing in this milestone celebration with us today, and God bless the class of 2017.
Story now be told. Hail to alma mater, grace maroon and gold. Loyola Academy, we stand and proudly sing your name. We are here for others, Ramblers, all proud to bear your name. Loyola Academy, we stand and proudly sing your fame. We are here for others, Ramblers, all proud to bear